Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Andrew Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. May I first of all congratulate the Honourable Gentle, the member for Liverpool-Walton, for securing this debate. And it is my pleasure to respond on behalf of the Government. And at the outset, let me say how much the Government appreciates the work of Peter Sands, the Chief Executive of the Global Fund, and his team, whom I saw recently in Geneva. He, along with others, has significantly reformed the Global Fund, which I was involved in 10 years ago, and it is now going from strength to strength. And as the Honourable Gentleman said, this spending is amongst the very best of the development spend that the British taxpayer generously provides. Given the impacts of the pandemic and Russia's barbaric attack on Ukraine, the UK's aid budget currently sits at around 0.55% of gross national income. This equated to over 11 billion in 2021, and we are proud to remain one of the world's biggest aid donors. Over the past 18 months, the UK has acted decisively and compassionately to support the people of Ukraine and Afghanistan to escape oppression and conflict and find refuge in the UK. We report all aid spending in line with the OECD rules, which allow funding to be spent on food and shelter for asylum seekers and refugees for their first year in the UK, one of the points which he raised in his remarks. And this support has put significant pressure on the aid budget, which is why the Treasury have agreed to provide an additional £2.5 billion of official development assistance over 2 years. Now, even, Madam Deputy Speaker, with this extra money, we are having to make difficult decisions in order to manage our aid spending this year and next. Our decisions and approach to spending are guided by the International Development Strategy. This means focusing our work on the priorities set out in the strategy, including on women and girls and global health, both of which he cited with approval in his remarks. And we will do this in a way that maximises the positive impact we can have and our ability to respond to crises. Now, if I may turn now to the overview of Global Fund funding. Organisations such as the Global Fund remain essential partners for achieving our goals. The UK joined with others to create the Global Fund because we refuse to accept the loss of millions of lives every year to AIDS, TB and malaria, diseases that are both preventable and treatable, and the Fund's achievements are nothing short of extraordinary. Over the last 20 years, it has saved 50 million lives. It has cut the death rate from these three diseases by more than half. It has invested billions in healthcare systems and played a crucial role in the protection of key populations and women and girls, a point that the Honourable Gentleman made towards the end of his speech. The UK is an important partner in the Global Fund's success. We are their third largest donor. We have contributed more than £4.5 billion to the fund to date and continue to back its vital life-saving work. In November, I announced our significant contribution to the Global Fund's seventh replenishment of £1,000 million. This will support critical programmes through to 2025, helping us to get back on track to end AIDS, TB and malaria. The UK's pledge will help save an estimated 1.2 million lives while preventing 28 million new cases and infections. Not only will the funding help diagnose, treat and prevent these three diseases, but it will also boost work to tackle the stigma and discrimination driving the epidemics, reaching 3 million people in key populations through prevention programmes. It will support community workers to find those at greatest risk, and it will invest in innovative research and development work. This includes tackling the growing resistance to drugs and insecticides that threatens the fight against malaria. We have invested around £400 million in product development partnerships, harnessing the best of British scientific excellence to fight diseases of poverty. and our £500 million investment in UnitAid supported innovations that cut the cost of the best paediatric HIV medicines by 75%. As I laid out in the International Development Strategy, we will continue to push for multilateral reform, including greater collaboration between health agencies at global, country and local level. The UK remains a determined leader, not only through our financing, but also through our valuable country partnerships, expertise and power to convene others. We are pleased that the Global Fund and UnitAid have been building on their partnership. The Global Fund is key to our strategy to end the preventable deaths of mothers, babies and children. The majority of its investment is in Africa, where a child dies every minute of malaria, and where 1 in 3 pregnant women risks catching malaria, putting them and their baby at risk. This is also an investment in strong and inclusive health systems. 1/3 of the UK's contribution to the Global Fund will help to support and strengthen formal and community health systems, improving data tracking, getting medical supplies to clinics in remote areas, and helping community health workers to meet the needs of their local communities. Building on the experience of the fight against COVID-19, the Global Fund also supports work to prepare for and respond to pandemics. For example, Madam Deputy Speaker, it invests in building laboratory networks that were the bedrock of COVID-19 testing programmes. The fund raised $5 billion in 2 years to fight COVID, leading work in lower income countries on diagnosis and treatment. But this is about more than money to fight diseases. This is also about addressing wider global challenges, from conflict to climate change. I happily give way to the Honourable Gentleman.
I'm grateful to the Minister for giving way, and we are both agreed that the Global Fund is a very, very good thing. We've had 2 years of progress, increased testing and reduction in diseases, and in the end we're hopeful to eradicate these diseases for good. So I'd like to ask the Minister, will he continue to watch the progress? Because at the minute, statistics are suggesting we are sliding backwards, and that's something we cannot afford to do. So if that's what the evidence suggests this year and next year, will he push for more funding? And would he just touch on the point about the United States match funding, which makes this such a good investment for the FCDO?
Well, he is absolutely right to point out the huge benefits of the generous offer from the United States, which along with Britain has been the 2 core countries to the Global Fund. And in terms of his request that I keep this spending and the results under review, he may rest assured that I certainly will. The Global Fund, Madam Deputy Speaker, has kept health services going in conflict zones from Afghanistan to Ukraine, providing $25 million in emergency funding to Ukraine, including deploying doctors and mobile clinics, and supported health cares for those suffering from climate-related disasters in Pakistan and Somalia. Addressing gender and human rights barriers is an integral part of the Global Fund strategy over the next 5 years, ensuring that life-saving services are available for all, regardless of gender, age, sexual orientation or income. 60% of the Global Fund's investments go towards protecting women and girls. The UK, of course, continues to champion these values in all our work. Today, as he indicated, we celebrate International Women's Day. This morning we published our strategy that puts women and girls at the heart of pretty much everything the Foreign Office does. And we will stand up for them at every opportunity, work with our partners to do the same, and counter any rollback in women's rights and freedoms around the world. I'm very sorry, I'm about to run out of time. We are increasing our ambition because the threats to gender equality are also mounting, and because women and girls continue to be at particular risk from diseases like HIV and malaria. And over the next year, global leaders will come together for UN high-level meetings on universal health coverage, tuberculosis, and pandemic preparedness and response. The Global Fund is an important partner to the UK, helping to advance these priorities. If I may conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have no doubt of the huge importance and value of the work of the Global Fund. we will fulfil our 6th replenishment pledge. This is an outstandingly successful partnership, and that is why the Foreign Secretary, the Chancellor and I very carefully considered our £1,000 million pledge to the 7th replenishment for all the reasons that the Honourable Gentleman has set out so eloquently. We balance the needs of the fight against these 3 diseases with the many other demands on the aid budget, guided by the priorities of the International Development Strategy. We can all be proud of our commitment and the difference this pledge will make to millions of people around the world, helping to end the 3 diseases that shatter lives and to build a better, safer world for all. He asked me specifically about the discussions on transparency with the Home Office. I can tell him that a new cross-Whitehall committee, co-chaired by myself and the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, will bear down on the quality of odour spent throughout the Whitehall system. He also asked about discussions with the Treasury on these matters and odour generally, and I can assure him that short of camping under the Chancellor of the Exchequer's bed, I could not lobby more than I am doing. Finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, I will give way to the Honourable Lady because we think we've got 1 minute left.
I thank the honourable gentleman for giving way. It was just a question in terms of whether the department had done an assessment based on what the, because he outlined so brilliantly all the great things that the Global Fund does. But as we've cut our replenishment funding, do we have an assessment of what that loss will mean in terms of the inability to meet some of that need?
Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, we look incredibly carefully at the results our taxpayers are buying from this contribution. The contribution that we've made at £1,000 million, given the constrained circumstances that we and others are finding around the world, is a very significant contribution. And we've made a contribution at that level for precisely the reasons that have been set out by the Honourable Lady and by the Honourable Gentleman opposite, in what I think you will agree, Madam Deputy Speaker, has been a most interesting and illuminative debate.
Questions that this House do now adjourn as